ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lausanne. Thank you for coming, and welcome to those who are joining us remotely as well. We will now start very shortly. Thank you.
Distinguished delegates, esteemed guests, dear friends and colleagues, welcome to ISU Extraordinary Congress, the first of its kind in our proud 33-year history. And I hope the music really pumped us up for this very historic moment. This is a hybrid Congress with many of our members participating in Lausanne, but many others attending remotely throughout the world. Wherever you are, thank you very much for joining part in this very historic moment in our history. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our esteemed Honorary President, Mr. Jan Dijkema, and all the honorary members and the office holders. Thank you for your continued and invaluable contributions. It's now my great honor and pleasure to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Madam President Kirsty Coventry, the new president of the International Olympic Committee. No, hold on. Madam President, thank you very much for honoring us by joining us at this very momentous extraordinary Congress. I believe it's your first participation as the IOC president at the International Federation's Congress, so we should all be honored that she's here with us. Thank you very much. And this attendance symbolizes and reflects the strong and enduring tie between IOC and International Skating Union. Just a moment, I'd like to invite President Kirsty Coventry to share a few words with us. But before that, let me introduce the members of the ISU team on the podium. First, Vice President Speed Skating, Tron Espeli. Second Vice President, Figure Skating, Mr. Benoit Labour. Figure Skating Council members, Mrs. Pat St. Peter, Mr. Tatsuro Matsumura, Ms. Susanna Rackamore, George Alec, Maria Teresa Samaranch. On the Speed Skating Council, we have Suwana Silpa Archa, Sergio Anasi, Stoicho Stoichev, Albert Hajulov, and Alexander Kibako. I also like to introduce the new chair of the Athletics Commission and the council member, Dawi Didibri, and legal advisor Michael Geisinger, Director General Colin Smith, Chief of Finance and Operations, Mr. Jeremy Conrad Pickles. Thank you. And during our last Congress in Las Vegas, we made a pivotal decision to modernize our constitutional framework. Since then, Constitution Drafting Committee has led the overhaul of our Constitution in a very transparent and collaborative way, working closely with you, the members, because you are the supreme body of the ISU. Today, we are here to make a decision on our Constitution, an important step towards realizing our dream or our ambition, our Vision 2030. Now I invite Mr. Colin Smith to provide an update on the ISU membership, confirm that a quorum is present. I'm sorry, I got so carried away, I forgot a very important part. Sorry, let me remind. Before we proceed, I'd like to ask everybody to rise in remembrance of our friends who are no longer with us. My apology, I got too carried away. I'll go back to the agenda. Now I invite Colin Smith to provide an update on the ISU membership, confirm that a quorum is present, and declare that the Congress is duly convened.
Thank you, President. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm delighted to inform you that the Council decided yesterday at their Council meeting to award full ISU membership to 2 members with immediate effect. The Council decided to award Portugal's figure skating branch with full ISU membership, in addition to their existing full ISU membership on the speed skating branch. This means ISU member Portugal has now 2 votes instead of 1. Let's therefore please congratulate Portugal and applaud their commitment to both branches. Furthermore, the Council decided to confirm full ISU membership for the figure skating branch to the Kuwait Figure Skating Federation. This means that Kuwait now has 1 vote. Throughout the 3-year provisional membership period, Kuwait has made substantial progress in developing figure skating.
So I see Kuwait there. Please rise. I think you deserve a good round of applause.
Currently, the ISU has 100 member federations, 98 full ISU members, and 2 provisional ISU members. The full ISU members with the right to vote are representing 135 votes in total. We currently have 48 members present in Lausanne and we have 39 currently joined remotely. So therefore, that is, if my maths is correct, we have 87 members total. A minimum of 50% of ISU members must be present to hold a valid ordinary or extraordinary Congress. Therefore, we have a quorum, and the Congress is properly convened. We expect additional full ISU members to join remotely ahead of the official voting deadline, and the final numbers will be communicated to you at that time of the vote. Mr. President, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Friends and colleagues, we have an important day ahead of us. Today, we are building on ISU's rich history and heritage, and we will shape the bright future of our sport together. With that, I declare the first ISU Extraordinary Congress officially open. Before we move on to the agenda item 2, there are several housekeeping items to cover under this agenda item. First, appointment of secretary and 2 scrutineers to take the minutes. I propose Tiago Lundvik, the ISU General Counsel, to be approved as a secretary, and the council member, Georgi Ellick and Albert Hegeloff, to be approved as scrutineers to take the minutes. Any objections? So I see no objections. Accepted. Appointment of voting scrutineers. I propose Lucy Baldwin to be approved as the voting scrutineer. Ms. Baldwin is Swiss attorney at law at the law firm Athena in Geneva. The law firm Athena has not been involved in the preparation of the new constitutional framework. She will observe the entire voting process to ensure the integrity of voting process and that it is carried out correctly and in compliance with Swiss law. Any objections? So we have no objections both online and in the room, so accepted. Third point, approval of the agenda. The 2024 ISU Congress unanimously accepted that the ISU Extraordinary Congress would be held in 2025 in a hybrid format with the adoption of the constitutional framework as the sole agenda item. On May 22, 2025, you received the agenda of this Congress, which was also published through ISU communication number 2712. Are there any objections from Lausanne? I see no hand. Any objections from remote participants? No objections. The Congress agenda is now approved. This concludes agenda item number 1. Agenda item number 2, approval of minutes of 59th Congress. On January 15, 2025, you will all receive the scrutinized minutes. We have not received any comments on the minutes and consider them approved. Any objections? I see no hands up from the room. Anybody from remote participants? No objections. So minutes are approved. We move on to agenda number 3, season 24-25 review and business update. Every time I watch this video, it gives me a goosebump. We are proud of our history and tradition, taking bold steps and leading the way. We are the second oldest international federation. We took part in Summer Olympics in 1908, 16 years before the creation of the Winter Olympics. This is a legacy that we are all proud of, and it gives us credibility and responsibility to continue to move forward. Last summer, at our Congress in Las Vegas, the ISU family made a firm commitment to move into the new direction with ISU Vision 2030. We are building on a strong foundation to make our sports greater, more inclusive, more innovative, safer, and better connected with the world. Our Vision 2030 is a transformative roadmap. And because modernizing of our Constitution is a pivotal part of our vision, I'd like to take minutes to recap what our vision is about. Our vision is simple. We want to create a world where everyone can experience and enjoy the thrill and joy of skating. Our mission is clear. It is to grow and improve our sports in a sustainable way. We'll do this by putting athletes first, supporting their growth, development, and well-being. We'll engage our fans with world's best skating on screen, online, and live in the venues. We'll also nurture partnership, creating greater values so we can better support skaters and skating. And last, we'll inspire communities to encourage skating around the world. Our vision is supported by 5 pillars: growth, opportunity, innovation, safeguarding, and unity, or we say Go ISU. Growth is about improving our sports product and fan engagement. It will increase our values to commercial partners, thereby increasing revenue, which can be invested back to sports and for our athletes. Opportunity is about inviting new skaters to ice, like our new member from Kuwait, and nurturing future champions around the world. Innovation is embracing technology not only to improve sport, but our operation. It's also about boosting digital engagement to better reach younger generation. Safeguarding is to keep our sports safe, clean, fair, and sustainable. Unity is strengthening collaboration with internal and external stakeholders, like IOC, and also streamlining governance to steer our sports forward. In Las Vegas, I also emphasized 3 requirements to make our vision a reality. And because we are willing to change, build our capabilities, and invest in our future, we had truly amazing season, marked by impactful changes in line with our Vision 2030. Let's take a moment and reflect what we have achieved together. I love everything you've done so far. That's a powerful comment. Message like this coming from athletes give us the conviction that we are moving into the right direction, and we shall continue. We should all be proud of what we have achieved together in such a short period of time. But this is just only the beginning. There's so many things we can do together, and we must do it together. Modernization of Constitution is a key enabler of our Vision 2030. The new framework will give us agility and flexibility that's needed to thrive in today's world. We'll no longer have to wait 2 years to take any actions on time-sensitive issues. The new framework would also strengthen our good governance practice. It's built on integrity, transparency, accountability, and broad member participation. You, the members, are the supreme body of the ISU. You continue to elect the office holders. You continue to have the right to amend the Constitution. You decide on the composition of the newly created independent bodies, including Integrity Unit. And you will continue to play a key role in shaping technical roles. The new framework will help fulfill our responsibility to serve our athletes and protect the future of sports better in a more effective way. With the Vision 2030, we are redefining who we are and what we stand for. This is the new ISU, and we are the new ISU. We are the new ISU with a bold new DNA. We are inspiring, we are supportive, and we are unstoppable. We'll continue to work together to realize our vision, make it a reality. With that, I'm delighted to introduce my dear friend and colleague, the new IOC President, Madam President Kirsty Coventry. There are so many things that I'd like to say about her, but I'll just be quick. She's an inspiring leader. She's the most decorated Olympian from Africa with 7 Olympic medals, including 2 golds. And as we all know, she's the first woman, the first African to lead the Olympic movement. And she's the youngest IOC president since Pierre de Coubertin. And knowing her, I know she'll be unstoppable in moving the Olympic movement to the next level. Let's give a warm welcome to Kirsty.
Thank you, President, for that. I'm extremely happy to be here with all of you. And I dressed appropriately in the colors, which is great. I didn't know that until this morning. I am very happy, as I said, to be here with all of you today on the very first Extraordinary Congress, the first time for me as President to be visiting a Congress. So again, thank you for having me, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for sharing a little bit more about your vision 2030. It is very impressive, the strategic roadmap, the things that you've already achieved altogether in a very short time. Jayul, I'm going to lean on you that we're going to be able to achieve just as many things just as quick within the IOC in the next year. So I look forward to doing that with all of you. What was really impressive with me when I was getting a bit more of a brief on your Vision 2030 was really very apparent in the video that was just shared. The athletes and the way that they are just beaming, their excitement on what is changing, on the presentation of their sport that they love and they dedicate hours upon hours upon hours doing every day and practicing. The fact that they are so positive about all the changes, that was very evident in the video. And that's what we do every day. We inspire and create platforms for new dreams to be born around the world. The opportunity that you shared in your 5 pillars, I wanted to share with you my very first experience of watching figure skating live with my husband. And he looked at me and he says, "This is the only sport our daughters will take part in." And I was like, okay. He's like, "It's just beautiful." I said, "What about swimming?" He says, "There's ice. It's the same thing. But this is way more beautiful. And I've watched enough swimming. It's very boring. And this is way more interesting." So you have a full supporter. And now that we'll be based in Lausanne, both my daughters will have a much greater opportunity to have and enjoy some figure skating lessons than in Zimbabwe, where there's no ice. But I look forward to having those conversations too, as you guys focus on spreading the sports across the globe and across the world, in terms of the opportunity that you see to invite new regions into the family. And congratulations to Kuwait. That's very exciting. Congratulations for that first step. What we heard from the president this morning was the reason why you're all here today, and it is a really important step. The Go ISU, I love that tagline, really important. But what really stuck out for me was the emphasis on the integrity unit. And that ISU is only the second Winter International Federation to set this up. That speaks volumes. That speaks volumes, especially to the perception that the people outside of our sporting family have of us. And sometimes those perceptions are not always correct. Sometimes they are, but sometimes not always. And so taking this very bold new step forward in setting up something that will allow for people outside of the sport to have more love, more understanding, and a greater sense of purpose within the bodies that are managing sports will really bring, I think, a lot of goodwill to the sporting family. So again, congratulations on this. I know you have important discussions and the vote is still to come, but this is such an incredible first step. The fact that you're all here, the majority of you here in the room and those online, and you're having these conversations and you're pushing yourselves to think outside the box and to think about new ways, and to, change is always scary, to open up to an integrity unit that sits just outside, that's independent, but it can make the sport better, and it can bring buy-in from not just athletes, from not just people around the world, but from different potential sponsors. It is the way that we need to go. And so congratulations and thank you for leading that, whatever the decision is today. I am very conscious that my very first Olympic Games as president of the International Olympic Committee will be Milano Cortina. And I know that we've had many conversations, President and Secretary General. We know that these games are going to be incredible, but they're going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of teamwork. And from the IOC, we are here. We know and we understand, and last week in our first step of conversations and collaborations with the members, it was very clear that the international federations need to play a greater role in the delivery of their events at Games time. We've heard, we're taking that on board. We're going to take more substantial steps in the future, and that leads me to knowing that that will be done in the IOC under the leadership of Pierre Ducret, who was with sport, who went to games, who's come back very much online and on sides with that. And I'm really looking forward to working with him and his team and yourselves to ensure that we do that in future games. And Milano Cortina will be a first where we want to see some of those recommendations coming through. So I'm very much looking forward to working closely with all of you. Very much looking forward to the success that we will see in Milano Cortina, and very much looking forward to both of my daughters getting to experience your beautiful sport in Milano Cortina. My eldest is 6 years old. My husband keeps showing her numerous videos of what's to come, and she is very, very excited. So I look forward to, again, working with all of you to ensuring that we remain a movement that is relevant, that is upholding our values that we live by, and ensure that we are creating more and more competitive spaces for athletes to realize their dreams. Thank you for having me today, and good luck for the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Kirsty. Let's another round of applause for Mother of Figure Skaters. Now, I think it's safe to say that we welcome her and her family as the family of International Skating Union, and she shared the same vision and same DNA, inspiring, supportive, and unstoppable.
Exactly. Thank you.
Pierre Ducret is in charge of sports, new person in charge of sports at IOC, so we'll be working closely with him. Now we move on to the next agenda item, update of the constitutional framework, process, feedback, and outcome. Before we begin, I'd like to once again thank Kirsty Coventry for her warm and remarkable words of support, words of inspiration. So thank you very much. And we will continue to work closely together with the IOC and to make the world better, world cooler on the ice. Now, the main agenda item. Let me ask you a question. Why are we here today? Why do we volunteer? We are here because we want to grow the sport and support our athletes. Our Constitution, shaped over 133 years, no longer meets the needs of IF in today's rapidly changing world. We need complete overhaul to make it coherent, streamlined, and fit for purpose for today and tomorrow, so we can do our jobs better. That's why the Council proposed, and 99% of you agreed, that we have a resolution to develop a new and modern constitutional framework by 2025. We committed a couple of things. First, to create Constitution Drafting Committee. Second, hire a qualified Swiss legal firm with relevant experience. Third, to set up a member consultation group to represent your view, the members' view. And last, and this is the most important one, to engage you throughout the process in a very transparent and collaborative way. From the outset, we knew it was going to be a challenging task to complete this in a year. But because in 2026, we have Olympics and also election Congress, it was either going to have to be 2025 or 2027. And none of us wanted to wait another 2 years. So we committed to a 1-year timeline. Once the resolution passed, the Council kept our word, and we took the steps just as we promised. It's now my great pleasure to introduce the members of MCG, CDC, and the Swiss law firm Charles Russell. Over the last 13 months, they've dedicated hours and passion and commitment to make the new constitutional framework. First, I'd like to invite members of the MCG groups. Mona Adolfson, memoriam, please come up to the stage. Blair Corbett, Hamenda Hans, Ida Hellstrom, Scott Kier-Kishom, Karen O'Sullivan, and Aki Nagashima, who unfortunately won't be here today, but we thank him for the great work that he has contributed. Please sit down. And please also welcome Attorney at Law Serge Vitos from Charles Russell. Last, I'd like to ask CDC members to please rise. The chairwoman, Ms. Pat St. Peter, Alexander Kibako, Michael Geisinger, Jeremy Conrad Pico, and Tiago Ludovic, who's working in the back, making sure that everything is on order. So let's give a warm round of welcome who's dedicated so much of their time and energy to deliver and tackle this very important endeavor. Thank you. Okay, now I turn over to Mrs. Pat St. Peter. She will walk us through the process, the feedback that we gather, and the outcome that we realize.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, delegates. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you delegates who are online. I've been asked to provide you with a general overview of various aspects of the new constitutional framework, as well as the process regarding how we got here. So today I will focus on what you've heard from President Kim, our goals and objectives, the composition of the groups, the drafting structure and process, and the member engagement. I will then turn to the new bodies within the governance framework itself, the new rulemaking process, as well as the key documents which make up the new ISU regulations. And finally, I will share information regarding the first elections of the election committee and the nomination process. So with that, Yannicki, first slide, please. So as President Kim described at the Las Vegas Congress, many of you were there, the Congress issued a mandate to the Council to undertake preparation of a new constitutional framework for the ISU and have it prepared for discussion and approval at an extraordinary Congress in 2026. So we undertook, with the objectives articulated by the Council, the objectives of clarity, simplicity, consistency, and agility, we undertook this project. Before I get to the specifics, I'd like to just describe what we mean by clarity, simplicity, consistency, and agility. For those of you who work with our current little books, the little vanilla book, the little red book, the yellow book, the green book, I think there's a blue one also. Clarity, the only thing that is clear is there are too many books, too many inconsistencies, and a need to change. So by clarity, we mean eliminate the excess wording, eliminate the contradictions that currently exist between the Constitution and the various other regulations and rules, and provide for a new structure of the ISU regulations and rules. With respect to the goal of simplicity, our goal was to address the constitutional legal requirements under Swiss law and ensure that the text of each article is consistent with its intended purpose. Those of you who work with the current Constitution, general regulations, special regulations, and so on, as you know, the title of the article is not always what is written underneath. So you have to literally read cover to cover every word to make sure that you found the appropriate rule on a particular topic. Consistency. Again, those of you who work with the general regulations, special regulations, those of you who are event organizers, as you know, there are various rules, regulations, and so on that govern hosting and organizing ISU events. So the goal of consistency is to work over time to make sure that the competition and event regulations and sport rules evolve so that they are consistent from start to finish. And finally, as President Kim described, agility. Right now, the hands of leadership are tied. There cannot be any changes to event models and so on because under the current Constitution, we have to wait every 2 years before such changes should be made. So the objective of agility is to increase operational flexibility to enable the ISU to undertake new opportunities and address the organizational needs in a rapidly changing sports environment. So immediately following the Las Vegas Congress, we had a council meeting as usual, and it was, okay, we've got to get going. We've got to get going on this right now because we've got 1 year to accomplishment. As President Kim described, at that meeting, the decision was made as far as there would be a Constitution drafting committee consisting of 5 persons. There would also be a member consultation group consisting of 8 member representatives, equal numbers of speed and figure representatives, as well as an athlete voice on this 8-person group. We wanted to have overall geographic representation and so on. So at the Las Vegas Congress, those of you who were present were asked to submit suggestions for persons to consider. These 8 persons were selected from the nominations submitted by members. And then finally, it was clear that we were required, it would be reckless not to do it, to engage the expert assistance of external Swiss legal counsel. We went through a vetting process and we interviewed multiple firms which had Swiss lawyers, multiple firms which were specialists in sports law, and the CDC, with the the approval of the council, we selected Charles Russell to serve as our outside external legal counsel. So when you see the 2 groups, the 5 persons on the CDC, the 8 persons on the MCG, there's a broad range of experience, relevant experience. Of these 13 people, 7 are either current or past member federation presidents, 2 are current or past technical committee members, 9 are attorneys, so we had 9 lawyers, plus the assistance of expert outside Swiss counsel. And we had a past member of the Athlete Commission, who also is an athlete member of the Synchronized Skating Committee among the 8 people. So we felt we had good representation of the various aspects of the ISU, what it feels like to be a member federation president, what it feels like to be an athlete, and what it feels like to be on a technical committee. That we covered all those and we would have the input of those people. Next slide, please. So the member consultation group, all were introduced to you, and several have been asked to share their summaries of their experience in this process. Mona?
Thank you, Pat, President, Madam President, dear delegates, dear members, skating friends. First of all, on the behalf of the member consultation group, we would like to thank the Council for the trust they have given us with this work. We have been representing the members and have given the Constitution Drafting Committee our opinions from the member perspective. And as you all know, we are representatives from different members with very different backgrounds and also different perspectives. So we have not always agreed within the group either. It has been good discussions. But common for all of us has been to continue in a way that will end up in a constitution that can make make sure that we will have an organization that can operate in the best interest of the members as a whole. We are the ISU family. For all of us in the member consultation group, the interest of the members has always been the highest importance during the going on discussions. And in this way, our ideas and proposals have then been taken into account, even if not everything has turned out exactly as we wanted. But this is democracy. And we all know that we have to have compromises. And we will never have everything to satisfy everyone at 100%. So everything is not perfect. And it likely will never be 100% perfect. But this is a large change in our organization, and the work will continue. So we are here today because we want to have a new constitution to move the ISU and the skating forward by having an organization that is efficient and agile and that can operate in the best interest of the member as a whole, as us.
Thank you, Mona. I must say, I want to begin by saying it's been amazing to work with this group of individuals from different fields, different backgrounds, different parts of the world. Our communication has been respectful. We haven't always agreed on things, but we've all had that common purpose that Mona referred to. This group met on at least 10 occasions with the Constitution Drafting Committee. We held a further 5 meetings just amongst ourselves within the MCG. Our inboxes are full of communications between and among us concerning the various issues over the past 10 months. We've been invited to comment on every drafting version, and we provided written and verbal comment in meetings with the Constitutional Drafting Committee. We've been clear in our feedback from the start, and in fact, the very first version that was referred to us was pretty unanimously thumbs down, if I can use that term, and sent back for reconsideration. We provided insight and opinion on the new governance framework concepts and matters of major change and importance. As Mona referred to, we are a consultation group and not a decision-making group, but we have been listened to. In some cases, our advice, our consultation, our input has been accepted. In other occasions, it's been a matter of clarification, clearing up inconsistencies that we've identified in the document. And sometimes, frankly, our advice, our input was not accepted. The Constitution Drafting Committee had their own perspective. Fair enough. We respect that. Members of our MCG attended 3 member conferences, all 4 webinars, seeing those members and seeing those questions and responses from members. It's not been possible to answer every question, but we have brought questions as we can back to the CDC. We've been available to members throughout for any ad hoc questions. So thank you to my colleagues, thank you to the CDC for your confidence, and I want to pass this to Ida for the athlete perspective.
So thank you, Blair, thank you, Mona, for the great presentation of what we've done during the past year. Like everyone here has echoed, it's been a great group to work with. Even if our views have been different, that's the whole point of this group, and it's been a real pleasure and honor to be part of that. Now, as a former athlete, we've emphasized a few things that were also emphasized in the speeches given here before our presentation, and one of them is the fact that the integrity unit will increase fair play, it will increase fair sport, it will increase safe sport for our athletes. And I think we all agree that those are the most important factors worldwide for everyone playing sports, no matter what level they are in. And the other thing that we want to highlight for athletes is that the new constitution framework enables us to have a significantly higher number of athlete representatives present. So we hope that this will lead to their voices being heard more often, on a more broad scale, and that they truly feel that they are involved in these processes. We quite often hear that the ISU is something very far away from their everyday work, their everyday training lives. And this should be a sign to them that we want to hear more of their opinions. We want to have our athletes involved, because at the end of the day, they are the ones doing the sport. They are the ones creating those emotions, those amazing performances on the ice. And they are the ones who we need to support the most. Now, if you ask an athlete what they need to succeed in their sports career, a constitution is most likely not their first reply. But however, if we want to support them in the best possible way, we need a functioning dynamic framework to do that. And our framework has served us greatly in the past years, as has been told here. The ISU is a long-standing, prominent organization, but even those organizations need to adapt to the modern world and its needs. And I think our athletes deserve that. They need to have the best possible framework so that we can react, so that we can be flexible, so that we can adapt to their needs. Not just every 2 years, but when needed. And I think that's the message that we want to send to all athletes here and to all the delegates, that our athletes deserve this. So I hope we all can agree on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona. Thank you, Blair. And thank you, Ida. So, how did we go about this? We made the decision at the very beginning. We needed to start with a blank sheet of paper. We couldn't take the little whitish, yellowish book and just start cutting and pasting, because it was a patchwork of different things thrown in there over the course of 133 years. So we started with a blank page, and the first job of the CDC was to come up with a process. What would be the process? So we came up with a process and a timeline to enable us to achieve being prepared and present documents for vote here at this Congress. So the process involved 3 phases. The first phase was the framework. What should be the new constitutional governance framework of the ISU? That was phase 1. And we went back and forth. We started with outside Swiss counsel. They gave us some ideas for a basic framework. We took those ideas to the MCG. Some of them they liked, some of them they disliked. Then we took those same ideas to the council. Some of them were liked, some were disliked. And then we started the process. And the process was, we would take the ideas back and forth as I described, and we moved forward in that fashion, and it required all to come to some consensus on certain areas. The council, in some areas, disagreed with the MCG. The MCG disagreed with the council. But ultimately, the council decided to arrive at a consensus, because this is the members' constitution. This is your constitution. So it was a give and take process, as was described by Mona, Blair, and Ida. The next phase was the drafting phase. And again, we worked in stages. We started out with sections of the new Constitution based upon the framework that had been decided upon, and we went through this back and forth process. We then created a full document once we got the sections drafted. That was the one that went to the MCG and the Council right before Christmas. Over the holidays, they worked on it, and then we started in the intense drafting phase. Another round prior to the member conferences, and then a final draft that was presented for all of you at the member conferences. So the third phase then became member engagement. When you became directly involved and had an opportunity to provide your comments at the conferences, opportunities to provide written comments, and then again we had the webinar sessions in May, where you could provide additional comments, additional suggestions, and so on. So I want to thank the members for your extensive engagement. The engagement ranged from constructive comments, constructive criticism, new ideas on substance, new ideas on procedure, as well as editing. Yes, there are some drafting, editing types of changes that still will need to be made, but thank you for the cumulative effort here on the member engagement side. And this depicts the number of activities that members participated in, as well as the numbers of members who were engaged in the various opportunities to participate in this process. We heard from IOC President Kirsty Coventry address us as far as the importance of good governance in a sport organization. And in addition to the IOC President taking her time to be with us here today, we also received the strong endorsement of the proposed new governance framework from the just recently retired IOC Chief and Ethics and Compliance Officer for more than 20 years. So again, a strong endorsement from the IOC that we are on the right track on what we're trying to accomplish here with this new constitutional framework. The new ISU governance structure, and you've seen this slide for those of you who participated in the member conferences, and then based upon your feedback, we had this slide prepared for the Boston conference to make sure that people understood who voted for what. And this slide depicts the new ISU framework, which body elects which entities. So as you can see, through this new structure, the ISU will continue to be member-driven. It is the members who vote for the council, these technical committees and their chairs, the disciplinary commission, and the 3 new independent bodies, the skating integrity unit, the elections committee, and the audit risk and investment committee. The athletes will continue to elect their own representatives at their elections, and then on the operations side, the council will continue to appoint, as it has in the past, the members of the medical committee, the development committee, as well as working groups on special projects, and then the newly created remuneration committee. So again, the new governance framework makes the members central to the governance of the ISU. Next slide, please. The major changes in the new governance framework, in addition to the 3 newly created bodies, include some changes in term limits, a cumulative mandate for the number of terms a person can serve, all ISU positions, carving out the athlete positions because we don't want the athletes to be penalized when they volunteer their time and they serve on different commissions or committees. The time served by athletes on those commissions and committees as athletes will not be counted toward the cumulative maximum that a person can serve. We are also separating the medical oversight for the benefit and welfare of athletes from the regulatory and investigative anti-doping function. So the medical commission, now known as Medical Commission, will be newly named Medical Committee. It will be more involved in the science side, the proactive side of helping athletes. We'll have increased athlete representation, as Ida mentioned, and as has been noted, we are creating an independent elections committee elected by you, the members, which will oversee the process for the ISU's quadrennial elections. The integrity unit will be a new investigative body for the ISU. We are lacking that. We have a disciplinary commission, which is the group that decides cases, but we are lacking a formalized investigative body to which reports can be made, complaints can be made, and that group will investigate any matters involving competition manipulation, anti-doping, alleged abuse and harassment, and any alleged violation of the ISU Code of Ethics. And as the IOC president noted, we will be the second Winter IF that is creating and putting in place an integrity unit. and we will be joining in the lead of the 3 very significant Olympic summer federations: World Athletics, Gymnastics, and Aquatics. There's been a lot of discussion about the new rule-changing process. And I'd like to walk through this with you, just to make sure everybody is clear as far as how the member rights will continue and that the members will continue to be central to the process for rulemaking changes. The Constitution. Only you, the members, can change the Constitution. The Council can submit proposals to you for vote, but it is only you who can make changes or amendments to the Constitution. The competition and event regulations, which we currently call the general regulations and special regulations, under the new structure, the bodies that can submit proposals will be the technical committees, the members, and the council. And these are changes for the competition and event regulations. Who decides? This is where there's a difference. Who will decide changes in the competition and event regulations? Under the new rulemaking process, it will be the council which will make the decision on proposals you make as members, on proposals coming from the TCs, and on proposals coming from the council itself. But just remember, you, the members, have a right to appeal council decisions making changes to the competition and event regulations. You will have that right to appeal. If 25% of members decide they don't like some council decision, you can bring it forward to the next Congress for a vote. And if it's something extraordinary that cannot wait for the next ordinary Congress, there's a procedure in the new Constitution that enables a group of members to call for an extraordinary Congress to address a particular agenda item. So you maintain that right, ultimate right, on those competition and event regulations. But as JL described, the need to be able to make changes more frequently, that's why we are recommending this rule change. Finally, the sports rules, which we now call the technical rules. The process for reviewing and vetting remains with the technical committees. We have heard some feedback that, well, the council is taking away that responsibility from the technical committees. That is not accurate. The technical committees will continue to be the bodies which will review and decide what types of proposals to put forward to the council. The council will make the decisions, but again, it'll be the technical committees who come up with ideas. Members, you can see under who can submit proposals, members can submit proposals to the TCs, as well as the council can submit proposals to the TCs. If you as a member or a group of members submits a proposal to a technical committee that the technical committee doesn't put forward to the council for vote, you have a right to appeal to the council. The technical committees not accepting your proposed idea to bring forward to the council for a rule change. So you have that right to appeal. Then ultimately, if you decide the council doesn't go forward, again, you can gather a group of members who feel the same, who want X rule changed or X new rule, and bring it forward to the next ordinary Congress. So your rights to be involved will be in that process. And here's the most significant difference, and that is there will be an open, transparent, and continuous dialogue between you, the members, and the technical committees throughout every year leading up to the end of the Olympic cycle. As was described, and you'll hear more detail, there will be a portal that will be created for members to put forward proposals. And this will be a member-only portal that other members can see. So if a member federation puts forward a proposal, another federation can say, I like that, or I'm concerned about that. And you can have a back and forth dialogue. In addition, every World Championships, every year, we'll have a rules forum, and that will be all 4 of the senior world championships, including synchronized skating. Synchronized skating will have a rules forum every year at the synchronized skating world championships. So there will be a forum and an opportunity every single year for members to engage with the TCs and other members to talk about the technical, the sport rule changes. So there will be more opportunity, more member involvement, and more member engagement in the new process. Instead of waiting every 2 years, and people rush together, and maybe you've got consensus, it will be more organized, it will be more collaborative, and we won't have silos or people spending time on things when others are doing the same thing. So these are the benefits of the new rule structure. And again, members remain central to this process. Why are we doing this? Timeliness. We have, under the new Constitution and the various terms of reference, there can only be sport rule changes or competition and event regulation changes in between the beginning and the end of the Olympic cycle, under 2 circumstances. One, for safety. A rule has to be changed and cannot wait for the end of the Olympic cycle, if it's athlete safety. The other way there can be a rule change is if the rule change itself would not impact a skater's training in any way. Because skaters have complained about in the middle of the Olympic cycle, all of a sudden there are these rule changes, it's frustrating, we have to redo things, that's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and it causes increased stress for athletes. So again, timeliness of making the rule changes. And then as was described, the agility and flexibility, it will reduce the Congress burden. One of the MCG projects early on was to do an informal survey of the members. How long do you want the Congress to last? Right now it's 5 days. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of money. And the consensus from most members was 3 days. A 3-day Congress is what we should have. So this will reduce the time in the Congress on the back and forth rulemaking process that doesn't affect many of the members. And finally, then Congress time can be used more for strategic reasons and the other business of the Congress, as opposed to the details of specific sport rules for specific disciplines. Another undertaking is we created a new structure for the various ISU regulations, rules, policies, procedures, and guidelines. And the reason we had to do this was, in the 80-plus pages of the current Constitution, most of that material, most of those provisions are still important. They just didn't belong in a Constitution. For example, the details of the Congress, not the power of the Congress, but the various details. That's why we created the Congress Standing Orders. There are many certain provisions in the current Constitution that relate to the council procedures. You know, how much time if you're going to have an urgent meeting, how many hours notice, what do you have to provide. All of that type of important information, still important, but it just doesn't belong in a Constitution. That's why we created the council procedures and guidelines. The same is true for the technical committees. So we decided on having a general umbrella term for all of the other ISU rules, regulations, and policies, the various groups, under the umbrella ISU regulations. We also committed at the Las Vegas Congress that there would be no changes to the substance of the competition and event regulations, as well as the technical rules. There's a name change, but the substance is the same. They've been reorganized to make more sense, but again, the substance was not changed. So you will be asked, when you cast your vote, to approve certain documents. First and foremost, you will be asked to approve the new Constitution. Next, you will be asked to approve Section A of the Congress Standing Orders and the terms of reference of two ISU bodies, Section A of the Council Procedures and Guidelines, and Section A of the Technical Committee's Terms of Reference. And the reason that the Section A are referenced is because it ties directly to the Constitution, which only you as the members have a right to amend. So the Section A's of these ISU regulation documents relate directly to provisions in the Constitution. There have been other questions raised about the Elections Committee. First, I'd like to briefly outline what is the responsibility of the new Elections Committee. It will be a 3-person committee elected by you as the members. The first responsibility will be to prepare job descriptions and improve the candidate forms for all office holder elected positions. So when you go to vote at the next electoral Congress for, say for example, the council member positions, there'll be a job description with essential experience, and then the desirable experience. In addition, the new candidate forms, instead of simply your name and your birth date and what federation you're from, and somebody signs on that, candidates will have to provide more detail as far as their relevant experience and why you should elect them for the position that they're running. So that's an outline of what the new group will do. The second part will be the Elections Committee will review the candidate forms submitted by the members to make sure that they meet the criteria under the Constitution and the Electoral Code. So when there's vetting, the only vetting the Elections Committee will do of candidates you nominate for office holder positions for the elections, the only vetting is going to be, are they age eligible? Are all the other criteria met under the Constitution? How many terms have they served in that position? That type of thing. What they will not be doing is vetting to see who's better qualified. Okay? They're not going to decide, essentially narrowing the group. That's up to you to decide who's got the best qualifications, background and experience that you want to cast your vote for to get elected to the position. So again, the vetting is very limited. The other vetting will be a background check. That will be, an outside firm will be engaged to do like a corporate background check just to make sure there's something that is in the person's background that the member federation president wasn't aware of. But it will surface because the internet is what it is, and it will surface, and it could cause embarrassment not only to the member nominating, but also to the ISU, should the person be elected. So that is the scope of what the vetting will be done by the Elections Committee. Finally, the Elections Committee will oversee the actual elections themselves. The President will turn over the chair to the Elections Committee to preside over the elections in 2026. So those are the 3 main roles of the new Elections Committee. Now, in the future, the members and council can nominate candidates to be considered to be on the ballot for the Elections Committee. There can be up to 8 candidates on the ballot to be elected to serve in the 3 positions. And in the future, it will be the integrity unit that will review all the nominations made by members, review any council nominations that council wants to submit for persons to be considered to be on the ballot for the Elections Committee. But right now, we don't have an integrity unit. So for the very first election of the Elections Committee, and only the very first election of the Elections Committee, there'll be what's called a vetting working group. It will be made up of 4 of us, Michael Geislinger, ISU legal advisor, myself. While I'm in the council, I'm going to be age ineligible, so I am not eligible to run for anything ever again in the ISU. So I have no conflict of interest in looking at the application to decide who might be on the first ballot. And Karen O'Sullivan, one of our MCG members, and Scott Keel-Chisholm, another one of our MCG members. And neither Karen nor Scott plans to run for any office holder position. That's another condition in doing this. You can't be planning to run and then be vetting the people who might be on the ballot to serve on the elections committee. So the four of us will be the vetting group. The council, because again, this is the very first elections, and because I am a council member and I'll be in this vetting group, the council does not intend to submit any names for consideration to be on the ballot for the first elections committee this first time around. The only situation which would cause the council to submit any names is if there are fewer than 3 nominations from the totality of all members. Otherwise, the council's not submitting any names. The only names for this first elections committee to be considered will come from the members. You received a communication just before the extraordinary Congress as to the essential and desired qualifications of candidates, and we're going to be having the online vote in the week of September 25, so we're asking that nominations be submitted by the close of business July 13. A former written communication will confirm this. Okay, so this will be the process for the elections committee, this very first time. So in summary, everything underlying the work that has been undertaken over the course of the past year, our ultimate goal is for the ISU to achieve the highest standards of governance that an international federation in sport can achieve. The second goals are the goals of clarity, simplicity, consistency, and agility. But again, the overarching goal is that this organization put everything it possibly and reasonably can in place to achieve these higher standards. And as we heard from Ida, for the athletes. So in conclusion, the mandate to prepare a new constitutional framework for the ISU has been a mammoth undertaking. But we were able to accomplish this in 1 year. This has been an extraordinary undertaking, an extraordinary time commitment on the part of many people. And all I can say is it's been a colossal team effort by all. And by all, I mean the MCG members and all of you who participated. You got involved in every way that you could, and you gave us your feedback, all types of feedback. So it's been a massive team effort. And on behalf of the CDC, I'd like to thank the 8 members of the MCG, the council, Charles Russell, our outside Swiss counsel, who's been with us from the very beginning, through the entire process, reviewing the final drafts of everything to make sure that everything there complied with Swiss law. And they're here today to answer any questions that may relate to Swiss law. And to all of you who participated in this process. So on behalf of the CDC, I want to say that it's been an honor and a privilege for us to work with and serve you on this historical undertaking of the reform of the constitutional framework of the ISU. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you for the very clear and simple presentation, but also comprehensive. I asked MCG members and Mr. Bitos to remain in place for the next agenda item. Moving on, agenda number 5, proposal of the constitutional framework to vote. The proposal to be voted upon is as follows. The first extraordinary ISU Congress 2025 hereby adopts the constitutional framework submitted by the Council, which consists of the ISU Constitution 2025, including Appendix Transitional Rules, Sections A of the Standing Order of the Congress, the Council Procedures and Guidelines, and the Technical Committee's Terms of Reference. This decision enters in force as of July 3, 2025. The purpose also included providing the complex text of the Electoral Code, the Skating Integrity Unit regulations, the disciplinary procedures, the competition and event regulations, the terms of reference for the Athletes Committee, the ISU Audit Risk Audit, Risk, and Investment Committee, and the ISU Remuneration Committee. All these ISU regulations, as described to the members, will be adopted by the Council on July 4, 2025, in accordance with the decision of the Extraordinary Congress 2025, and shall take effect upon the closing of the Congress 2026, unless otherwise indicated in the transitional rules. As communicated before, items within the constitutional framework will not be open for debate or amendment. However, all members are welcome to ask any questions or make final comments. Now I give the floor to Mr. Smith.
Thank you, President. Dear members, should any of you wish to take the floor, please mention your name and which ISU member or ISU body you represent before making a statement. Statements should be kept short, not exceeding 3 minutes, and please, it is important to remain on topic. Only one representative per ISU member can speak, and up to a maximum of 2 times. Those of you present in Lausanne, please move to the microphones, which you can see in the 2 aisles. And those of you attending remotely can take the floor through the request to speak or through the live text box, and I will then read the questions aloud. So I now open the floor to anyone who wishes to speak. Yes, Japan?
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Collin. My name is Miki Hirai from Japan Skating Federation. Our president, Mr. Nagashima, was unable to attend today in person. He was an integral member of the MCG, and I have a letter from him, a message that I would read now. President Kim, IOC President Ms. Coventry, distinguished members of the Council and members of the ISU, I would like to extend my deepest respect for your forward-looking vision and the courage to push us towards a new era of the ISU. I'm sorry that my official duties have prevented me from attending this historic moment. As the special advisor to the Prime Minister of Japan, I witness every day how the world is changing right in front of our eyes. No organization can continue to exist or be relevant without constantly reinventing themselves, and ISU is no exception. With more transparency, representation, and focus on our Vision 2030, I believe the ISU has materialized a blueprint for the future, the new Constitution. Because we have a shared goal and values of advancing skating as a sport, we are better equipped to improve ourselves in many ways. A new Constitution will mean a lot of changes, and I am convinced that the skating family could work together, as we always have, to try, see, discuss, and improve while we go through this transformation. Transparency and democratic process is what any leader is held accountable for, and members must fulfill their duty even more so in casting their important vote to elect the leaders who will work tirelessly for them. I'm honored to be standing with all of you at the starting line of our collective endeavor into a new era. Akihisa Nagashima. Thank you.
Okay, please go ahead.
Jimmy Strinmeyer from Luxembourg Figure. I will try to keep it short, but I mean 3 minutes when we have to discuss a constitution is not a lot, and in fact that was the mandate also that were given to you, that was that we had an opportunity to discuss the constitution here. So first, I would like to acknowledge all the work that have been done. I know it's been a huge work for everybody, the drafting committee, the members consultation group, and it hasn't been easy with the time constraint that or the time pressure that you have been working on. As Mona said, well, not everything is perfect. I fully agree, but we should strive for excellence. That is in our vision 2030, that is to strive for excellence. And I don't think that we are there yet. with the current proposal. And the written feedback, well, I wouldn't say that the written feedback that was given always met the standard that I would have expected. So there's a lot of things that have been raised and which has not been properly addressed, in my view. So what we have is a very good draft. I think that we need to work on that to make it even better and to strive for the excellence that I would like also to see in ISU. So before we start the voting, I would also like to request a secret vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me just deal with that matter. And thank you, Jimmy. We would move the request for the secret ballot to before the next agenda item 6, because we'll carry out a test vote first for the systems, and then we would go through the process for the secret vote as requested by Luxembourg. Thank you. We've just got one. Yes, please. We've got Italy, and then we have a request to speak online from a remote member.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Andrea Gios, President of Italian Federation. First of all, let me thank the Council, the group that is working, the President, the General Secretary. You have been a lot of courage to propose a modification of the bylaws after 130 years. 1 year before the election. I know that sometimes it's easier to go to election without huge discussion, and I appreciate that very much. It was time to change. I think the whole structure of the bylaws was impossible to manage, and it was a system that could not give us the instrument to have a fast and agile development for the future. We need to be fast, we need to be agile, we need to work for the interest of our athletes, and not discussing politics or other topics inside the Congress for hours and hours. So I support very, very much this new proposal. I think that the process was really transparent, really well done, with involvement of all the part of the ISU family. I, as Italian Federation, take part to 4 different international federations, and I can assure you that none of these federations has the same discussion we had inside ISU. We discussed for a lot of time. Everybody of the international member had the chance to take part of a discussion. We discussed as European Federation in many opportunities to see that. So the process was transparent, was involving everybody, and I appreciate that very much. I'm completely against the secret vote. I think this is a matter that we have to work with the sport spirit. We have to say yes or not and to show what we want, because this is not something that we vote on a person or something that is personal. This is something that is the future of our federation. I would like everybody have the courage to say yes or no, facing everybody, facing the council, facing the other federation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to, we have a remote request to speak from Ukraine. Can we please patch that in? Hello, good morning, Ukraine.
Good morning. Thank you very much for organizing this beautiful Congress. Dear friends and colleagues, on behalf of the Ukrainian Figure Skating Federation, we extend our warmest greetings to all members of the International Skating Union. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to the ICU president, members of the council, and everyone involved in the drafting of the new constitution. This is a significant step forward that reflects a commitment to innovation, reform, and positive change aimed not only at preserving the ICU itself, but also at promoting the prosperity of our sport and the entire international community. The proposed reform significantly alters the balance of powers among the ISU's governing bodies. In the current challenging circumstances, this may be seen as a necessary and justified step, yet one that carries considerable risk. As a country experiencing the realities of war, we understand firsthand the implications of power centralization during times of a crisis. At the same time, the increased authority of the ICU Council also brings with it heightened responsibility for its members, particularly with regard to the political consequences of the decisions taken. We sincerely hope that by the time of the next elections, we will be able to acknowledge the meaningful and tangible achievements of the candidates. In the absence of such progress, we trust that the new and deserving leaders will emerge. Given the importance of adoption of the new constitution, the Ukrainian Figure Skating Federation proposes that the decision be made to hold a secret ballot in accordance with Article 30, paragraph 11 of the current ISU constitution. And many thanks, and wish all of us very successful result as a result of this Congress.
Okay, thank you, Ukraine. Under the terms of the Constitution, when a secret ballot is requested, it is not open for debate. So as I said, we will move to the vote as to whether accept the secret ballot under the next agenda item when we come to the vote. There are currently no more requests to speak. One more. Here, there's none rating remotely. So Norway, thank you.
Nils Einar Aas, President of the Norwegian Skating Association. Dear President, distinguished council members, delegates, and members of the Assembly. The proposed constitution may not be perfect, but no constitution ever is. What it offers, however, is a solid and forward-looking framework that introduces the flexibility we urgently need to develop the ISU sports and foster deeper engagement among our members and stakeholders. This constitution is not carved in stone for the next 133 years. It will be a living document, one that will evolve and improve every time we meet, reflecting our shared experiences and ambitions. We understand that some concerns have been raised about a perceived transfer of power from the General Assembly to the Council. Let us be clear. With power comes accountability. And under this new framework, elected office holders will be held accountable more transparently and more consistently than ever before by this very Assembly. The Norwegian Skating Federation firmly believes that this new constitution is a pivotal step toward modernization. It lays the foundation for continuous improvement and sustainable growth. It is a platform that will allow us to respond more effectively to the current challenges and the opportunities that lies ahead. We therefore urge this Assembly to approve the proposed constitution today, not as a final destination, but as a bold and necessary beginning. Dear skating family, let us move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further request to speak, I'll just read one statement that has come in from the Ice Skating Association of India. They would like to place on record their appreciation in regard to the reforms being brought in by the ISU Council. The amendment of the Constitution in tunes to modern requirements is laudable. That's from Ice Skating Association of India. President, that's all the requests to speak.
Thank you. Once again, I'd like to thank CDC, MCG, and Charles Russell for the wonderful work. Not only did they produce a great work, but I'm more proud of the way they tackled this daunting task in a very transparent, collaborative way, engaging all of you, the members, to hear your thoughts. So thank you very much. Let's give another round of applause for the members. So this concludes agenda number 5, and we move on to agenda number 6. Opening of online voting and electronic voting in the auditorium. Dear friends and colleagues, we are now about to make the decision on our Constitution, which will define the future of our sport. When we made the decision to modernize our Constitution, many honorary members came and spoke to me. And one of them said, we felt the same. We felt the need to fix the Constitution during our time, but we did not dare to act. The ISU Honorary President, Mr. Jan Dijkema, wrote me a few days ago, "It's a courageous initiative, which is in the best interest of our sport. It will elevate skating to the next level." In Las Vegas, we made a strong commitment to the Vision 2030. To realize that vision, we need a Constitution that is clear, consistent, and allow us to be agile in today's rapidly changing world. At the same time, we need to uphold the highest standards of good governance. Some of you question the roles and authorities of different ISU bodies, especially your roles. Let me be clear. You are the supreme body of ISU. As Pat explained clearly, you have the right to elect office holders. You have the right to amend constitutions. You continue to have a central role in rule setting. The proposed constitution simply takes a different approach, and we believe it's a more effective approach. There will be open, transparent, and continuous dialogue between you and the TC, and also you and the Council. Every year, we'll also organize a member conference. How many of you have been to the member conference in 23, 24, 25? So we promise you they would have at every World Championship, we'll organize member conference dedicated to discussion on rules. This means you would have the opportunity to give your input and feedback at any time, not just once every 2 years. Now, I know you may not agree with every detail in the proposed constitution, and that's okay. Canada might have different opinion, Luxembourg may have different opinion, Ukraine may have different opinion, I have a different opinion. I have my own version of ideal constitution. But if we insist on just what is each of our individual ideal version of a constitution, we'll never reach an agreement. Instead, let's compare to what we have today. Is it better than what we have today? That's the question we want to ask. This is not a question between perfect or imperfect. It's a choice between constitution designed for today and tomorrow, or one stuck from the past. It's a choice between taking a bold step and move forward, or continue with the endless debate without taking any action. Is that what we want? Let me remind you of our situation. In the past 2 decades, our sport has been in decline. Not in decline, downward trajectory. In terms of fan base, in terms of media coverage, in terms of TV ratings, in terms of sponsorships. In some countries, we are moving to smaller venues, much smaller than ones that we used to use for our prime events. And sometimes we don't even feel them. But we took initiative in line with ISU Vision 2030. After the Las Vegas Congress, and we've already made significant progress. You've seen the highlight video from the last season. The change that we made were noted by media and sponsors. At the reception yesterday, you met the new closing sponsor. But that's not enough. We need more. We need to more quickly to serve our prime purpose, which is to grow the sport and serve our athletes better. We want to accelerate these changes and grow our sports. We want our key events to be in big venues again. We want our key events to be live televised during the prime time. We want to have more companies lining up to sponsor us. We want more young people to come and join us at the live competition. Why? Because we want to generate more revenue so we can serve our skaters and our sports better. We want to increase revenue so we can increase the prize money for our deserving athletes. And we want to offer you more with greater and more comprehensive development support. The new constitution is designed to help us to reach our objective, while strengthening our good governance practice and enabling more efficient member participation. And once again, I assure you, you will continue to play a key role in the direction that we steer. Let's take a moment and reflect why we are all here today one more time. We are here because our united desire and our responsibility to grow our sports and serve our athletes better, to put our sports back in upward trend as quickly as possible through ISU Vision 2030. 20 years from now, we want to look back today and we want to be able to say, hey, we made the right choice. We did the right thing. We have done a lot of discussion, a lot of debate, a lot of talking. Now, it's time to make the decision and act. The decision you make today will shape the future of ISU and our sports. Let's take this bold step together forward. Together, we can go further. Now I give the floor back to Mr. Colin Smith for voting.
Thank you. Thank you, President. So what I'll do now is I'll explain the voting process. We will have a test vote. Sure, everyone's familiar with the systems. We will then have the vote on the secret ballot as requested by 2 members. And then we will, on the basis of the outcome of that vote, we will then proceed to the main vote. So, ladies and gentlemen, you all received communication 2726 about the voting procedures. But let me quickly summarize the process before we go to the test vote. To ensure the integrity of today's important vote, ISU carried out a detailed selection process to determine the most suitable company and equipment to use for this important occasion. The voting system during this extraordinary Congress will therefore be conducted electronically by Gerrans and Batterman, GmbH, that has extensive experience with congresses in person, online, and hybrid of other international federations. The voting delegates present in Lausanne have a tablet in front of them. The remote voting delegates are logged in through the voting tool. All remote delegates have been offered the possibility to test their system before today's Congress. And as a reminder to remote participants, if you are watching the stream in full screen, you will need to minimize the screen before the voting starts to see the voting pop up on the web page. For the vote on the constitutional framework, all members attending here in Lausanne and remotely at the time of the opening of the vote will be requested to cast their vote. The vote will then subsequently close here in Lausanne for those members present. However, it will remain open to members attending remotely until 13:45 Swiss time. This additional time is made available to accommodate the different time zones and ensures that any internet connection issues for members will not deny a remote member their right to vote. However, should all voting members already be attending remotely at the time of the opening of the vote and indeed cast their vote, the online voting window would no longer therefore need to be extended. We will close the voting and announce the results right away. The possibilities are to cast a vote for yes, a vote for no, or to choose to abstain. Abstentions have to be taken into account for the purpose of ascertaining majorities. Invalid votes are deemed not to be present. They shall be determined by the voting scrutineer appointed at the Congress, Ms. Lucy Bolden, as previously selected. For a change in the Constitution, a 2/3 or higher majority of valid votes cast is required, together with the presence in Lausanne or remotely at Congress of 50% of the ISU members. The new constitutional framework will therefore be approved if at least 2/3 of the valid votes cast by members are in favour of the resolution. Once a vote has been submitted and confirmed, it cannot be modified. So let's move to the test vote. And this will be obviously for everyone, you here in Lausanne and members attending remotely. I can see so far for this test vote, we have 48 out of 48 connected here in Lausanne, and we have 45 out of 49 members joining remotely. So the question, very difficult one to start you off, is ice skating the perfect way to cool off on a hot day? When I open the voting, you can cast your vote within 45 seconds. You will see on the screen a countdown clock, counting down from 45 seconds. You will also hear music. First of all, you cast your vote by clicking on yes or no. You also have the option to abstain. Secondly, you click on submit. Thirdly, a window will automatically pop up asking if you are sure you wish to submit your vote. You click on confirm. Your vote is now registered and you will see a green bar stating, "Thank you, your contribution has been submitted." To be clear, once you see the green bar thanking you, your vote is final and you cannot modify your vote. So we're going to start. The question is ice skating the perfect way to cool off on a hot day? I will now open the test vote, so please cast your vote here in Lausanne and also remotely. The vote is now open. Okay, the vote is now closed. We just await for the results. Okay, so vast majority do indeed agree that ice skating is the perfect way to cool off on a hot day. So we had 120 yes, 2 no, 122 valid votes, 62 was required for a simple majority, and we had 4 abstentions. So, and here we have the details. Details are not yet populated. Let's just give it a moment. Okay, we'll carry on so as not to waste any further time. So test vote seems complete. Everyone had the chance to vote. Everyone's familiar with the system. So we would now move to the request from 2 members to undertake a vote to ascertain whether or not we have a secret ballot.
Under the current ISU constitution, we are not allowed to have a debate on this matter. Given the historic importance of this vote and the interest of good governance and transparency, the ISU Council believes it is appropriate to have an open vote. However, the ISU Council acknowledges and respects that a member has the right to ask for a secret ballot. Now I give the floor back to Mr. Smith.
Thank you, President. So the request is passed if at least 1/10 of the votes present support the request. So please just give us a moment to prepare and confirm the voting system is ready. I'll hear it in my ear. Open the voting. All voting delegates attending in Lausanne and remotely can cast their vote within 45 seconds, just like the test vote. So the question is, do you support the proposal of of Luxembourg and Ukraine to hold a secret ballot for the adoption of the ISU constitutional framework under agenda item 6? For yes, click on yes, then click on submit and confirm your submission. For no, click on no, click on submit and confirm your submission. You also have the option to abstain. We're going to start. I'll open the vote now. Please cast your vote. Okay, the vote is now closed. We're just aggregating the results. Okay, I think we can move to the results. So we had 29 yes, 81 no, valid votes was 110, required was 11, and we had 13 abstentions. So the request to hold the main vote of the day via secret ballot is approved. And here we have the details of that vote. Okay, now I believe we can move on to the actual vote. And again, just to clarify, a secret ballot means, even on the back end, and this is verified also by our voting scrutineer, that we will see that members have voted, but we will obviously not be able to see who has voted in which manner. So that is completely transparent and clear on the back end of the system. Just to clarify that, following the decision that we've just taken. Okay, so we now move forward to the actual vote on the constitutional framework. This is obviously the most important moment of the day, so I'll just wait for confirmation that we are ready to go for this vote. And we are indeed ready. We do not yet have all remote participants online, so we will need to extend the voting time until 13:45, and I'll explain the process now. When I open the vote, you can cast your vote. For voting delegates present in Lausanne, please cast your votes within the 45 seconds. We're all getting familiar with it now. We request the remote voting delegates present to also cast their votes within these 45 seconds. The question is, do you agree to adopt the ISU constitutional framework, which consists of the ISU Constitution 2025, including Appendix Transitional Rules, and the Sections A of the Standing Orders of the Congress, the Council Procedures and Guidelines, and the Technical Committee's Terms of Reference? For yes, click on yes, then select Submit and confirm your submission. For no, select No, then click on Submit and confirm your submission. You have also the option to abstain. We are now going to start the vote. I will open the vote now, so please cast your vote, attending those of you here in Lausanne and those attending remotely. The vote is now open. The voting is now closed. Unfortunately, we do have 3 members who are registered to vote who are not yet logged in or have not voted. Therefore, we will be required to extend the voting time for them until 13:45, when we can then close the vote. So as I say, there's three members not yet voted. So we have to give all our members their constitutional right to vote. So we're very happy to offer you a lunch today and request your patience, and we will reconvene here at 13:45. Thank you.
Welcome back. I hope lunch was great. Now we're ready to proceed with agenda number 8, closing of online voting. I declare the voting closed and thank all of you for casting your valuable vote. We'll need a minute to validate the final voting result, and thank you for your patience. Agenda number 9, announcement of the result. Dear friends and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a result. At this historical moment for the ISU, I'm delighted to announce to you that the ISU members, the Congress, have adopted the new and modernized constitutional framework. We now have the new ISU constitutional framework. Congratulations to all of us. I now give the floor to Mr. Colin Smith to go over the specifics of the voting result.
Thank you, President. Yes, we can now put that on screen. Okay, so you can see 119 yeses. Nine no, 128 valid votes. We needed 86 for a 2/3 majority. There were 2 abstentions. So, Mr. President, overwhelmingly passed.
Thank you for First, thank you. And this is truly a historic moment, history day for all of us. There are many firsts and many new things today, and delivery of the promises that we made. This was our first extraordinary Congress in our proud 133 years of history. This is the first time they represented the completely overhauled constitutional framework, and members voted on it. This is the first time they would completely adopt a completely new constitutional framework. We have the new logo, we have new constitution, we have new DNA. This really truly exciting time for all of us. In 2022, I made a promise that I will work with you, the members, to develop a long-term growth plan. And in 2024, we made a big commitment to take the new direction with ISU Vision 2030, our Vision 2030. And we started taking steps to implement initiatives that are related to, that are in line with the Vision 2030. And today, I got so carried away. So anyway, sorry. So we have the new constitution, and we voted on it, and majority of the people in this room and also logging on online have overwhelmingly approved our new constitution framework. Thank you very much for all the work. I'd like to thank the CDC, MCG, Charles Russell, and everybody else who's given us valuable inputs and feedback in developing the new constitutional framework. I also like to thank you for your trust, your engagement, your input, your criticism in developing the new constitutional framework. We have a lot of work to do. We have taken 2 big steps, adopting Vision 2030, new constitution, and we've taken steps to implement the initiative in line with Vision 2030. But don't worry, we have a lot more work to do, so we won't be bored. We'll continue to make progress, take steps until we realize our Vision 2030 to create a world where everybody can experience and enjoy the thrill of skating. Thank you very much, everyone. This concludes the first ever ISU Extraordinary Congress. Our next ISU Congress will take place on between June 10 and 12, 2026 in Santa Cruz de Tenerife, Spain, with the reception taking place on June 9th. I thank the Spanish Federation for their hospitality. You'll receive more information in due course. Have a wonderful summer, and everybody get a good rest and get ready for the Olympic season. But before we depart, remember always our new DNA. Do you remember? Can we say it out loud?
Go ISU.
No, new DNA. We are inspiring, we are supportive, and we are unstoppable. Can we say this? Who's going to give the cue? So I will say we are, and you say inspiring, supportive, and unstoppable. All right, we are the new ISU, and we are supportive and unstoppable. Thank you. Before we go, we were originally going to have information session, but that information session was going to be a revealing of the new brand. But we are so eager to introduce this beautiful, more dynamic, more explosive logo that we developed. So instead of covering the room with the existing logo, we decided to reveal the logo before the Congress so we can all enjoy and appreciate. So that was the information section that we had in mind. So since we already covered, there won't be any information session. And before we go, I'd like us to once again congratulate ourselves, but also express gratitude to the ISU office led by Colin Smith for preparing of this excellent organization of our extraordinary Congress. Thank you. And we also thank each and every one of us. Thank you very much. Why don't we gather in front to a group photo to leave a mark on this historic day?